I actually considered it. Robyn Brown opens up about wanting a new sister wife. In a shocking twist on Sister Wives, Robyn Brown admitted she briefly considered sharing Kody Brown again after a new woman expressed interest in joining their marriage. During the November 2nd episode, Robyn confessed that for a split second, she thought, "Wouldn't this be great? This is what I always wanted." However, the thought quickly faded as both she and Kody realized how strange it felt. Rumors have since exploded online, with fans speculating that Kody may have secretly remarried. While he denied wanting another wife, insiders claim Kody has grown close to a mystery woman, sparking talk that Robyn might not be his only spouse after all. The shocking confession has reignited chaos among the Sister Wives fanbase. For years, viewers of Sister Wives have witnessed the slow unraveling of Kody Brown's plural marriage. The family that once embodied the dream of unity through polygamy eventually became an example of how fragile that dream could be. In the most recent episode of Season 20, Robyn Brown, Kody's last remaining wife, opened up in a surprisingly candid confession, sharing a fleeting thought that even she didn't expect to have: the idea of once again sharing her husband. It all unfolded in the November 2nd episode when Kody revealed something unexpected to Robyn. A new woman had reached out to him, expressing interest in joining their marriage. This revelation arrived long after his spiritual and legal separations from his former wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine. For years, these women had been the foundation of Kody's plural family, each playing a role in the complicated dynamic that defined their lives. But now, after the collapse of those relationships, it was just Kody and Robyn left to carry the name of the Brown family. When Kody shared that a woman had approached him, Robyn's reaction was a mix of surprise and understanding. Though she didn't appreciate the way the woman reached out to her husband, she was willing to admit that she could understand the attraction. "I'm just gonna say it," Robyn confessed, her tone both amused and honest. "When a young woman sees a married, stable man, that is attractive. You know, he's figured out some of his bull crap, he's got a wife that's happy and he knows how to be a dad. I mean, I'm sorry but that's gonna make any girl's eggs drop. I mean, any young woman would be like, oh, he's marriage material because he's already married." It was a rare and vulnerable moment from Robyn, who usually guards her private feelings carefully on the show. Her willingness to speak openly about her husband and her own momentary reaction showed a side of her that fans don't often see. In that moment, she even admitted that part of her briefly entertained the idea of welcoming another wife into their home again. "Truth be told, for one split second, I kind of go, she said. "For a split second, I think, oh, wouldn't this be great? This is what I've always wanted for my life. And, how would they fit?" That brief curiosity, however, faded as quickly as it came. It wasn't long before Robyn and Kody sat together at their dining table, discussing the entire situation and reflecting on how strange it felt. It had been years since anyone had expressed interest in joining their family, and both seemed almost caught off guard by the attention. Kody's response was direct but tinged with discomfort. "We're married," he said. "I don't want to know that another woman's having a crush on me. Even if it makes me feel special, it's sort of ridiculous, right?" Robyn couldn't help but laugh, recalling the days when plural marriage was their reality. "It didn't used to be ridiculous," she teased, a mix of humor and nostalgia in her voice. Behind the laughter, though, there was a shared understanding that those days were long gone. The foundation of their plural marriage had collapsed, and both Kody and Robyn were now facing the reality that what once defined their lives was now just a memory. In a later confessional, Kody opened up about why his vision of plural marriage had fallen apart. He reflected on the imbalance that inevitably existed between his wives, acknowledging the painful truth behind his family's downfall. "Anytime you have two entities, one is going to outshine the other," he explained. "Guys can deal with that. But Christine couldn't deal with that. Let's just be really honest, could I fairly love all of these women? I wanted to. I really tried to. I even faked it. But in the end, it just wasn't going to work." Those words carried the weight of years of struggle, resentment, and failed attempts at harmony. Fans who had watched the Browns since the beginning could see how Kody's once confident idealism had given way to regret and reflection. His marriages had crumbled one by one, each ending marked by heartbreak and public scrutiny. Christine was the first to leave, announcing her separation in 2021 after years of emotional distance. Her decision to walk away became a turning point not just for her but for the entire family. Soon after, Janelle confirmed her own separation, explaining that she had grown tired of trying to make things work in a relationship that no longer felt equal. By 2022, Meri's marriage to Kody, which had already been strained for years, also came to an end. With each departure, Kody's vision of plural marriage unraveled further. What was once a family of shared commitment and collective faith had turned into a story of disconnection and loss. When the dust settled, only Robyn remained by his side, both legally and spiritually. She became his sole wife after their legal marriage in 2014, a union that was once meant to secure the family's future but ultimately marked the beginning of the end for the others. For Robyn, the journey has been equally complex. When she first joined the family, she expressed genuine belief in plural marriage and often spoke about wanting sisterhood and companionship. She envisioned a life where the wives supported one another, shared responsibilities, and raised their children together in harmony. But over time, that dream faded. The divisions between the wives deepened, and Robyn found herself isolated as tensions grew between her and the others. While Kody leaned more on her, the other wives felt neglected, leading to growing resentment that eventually tore the family apart. In the latest episode, as Robyn reflected on that fleeting thought of sharing Kody again, there was a sense of longing beneath her words, not for another wife, but for the sense of community that had once defined her life. It wasn't the idea of polygamy itself that she missed, but the family that had existed within it. The laughter, the shared struggles, the collective effort to make something unconventional work, all of that had vanished. What remained was a couple trying to hold on to each other while surrounded by the ghosts of what used to be. Kody, for his part, seemed to accept that their time as a plural family was over. His tone, once defensive and full of conviction about the principles of his faith, now carried resignation. He spoke as a man who had spent years trying to balance impossible expectations and finally realized he couldn't. "I wanted to love them all equally," he said quietly. But that just wasn't realistic. As Sister Wives continues to document this new chapter in their lives, both Kody and Robyn are left to navigate a very different kind of marriage, one built not on shared sisterhood, but on mutual survival. Robyn's brief, surprising confession revealed how deeply ingrained the idea of plural marriage still is within her, even after everything that happened. For just a moment, she remembered what it felt like to dream of something bigger than herself, something that once seemed sacred and full of promise. But the reality she and Kody now face is one of simplicity, solitude, and a lingering question about what it was all for. Their story has become a portrait of change, from faith and idealism to disillusionment and acceptance. And while Robyn's fleeting thought about sharing her husband again may have surprised viewers, it was perhaps the most human moment she has ever shared. It was a reminder that even after all the heartbreak, a part of her still misses the dream they once tried to build, a dream that, for better or worse, will always define the Brown family's legacy.